Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite plugins and the one I use the most, and that is Color Finale. How's it going, everyone? I'm Datu. Welcome to another wedding walkthrough Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking about Color Finale. So if you don't know already, Color Finale is a plugin that is for Final Cut Pro. I'll show you a little bit of what Color Finale is, but there are a bunch of videos out there that explain Color Finale a lot more in depth. Also, Color Finale, I believe, is $199. I'm not quite sure. It's either $199 or $99. I'm pretty sure the one I got was $199 for the Pro feature, because I could. With the Pro feature, I believe you can create LUTs. With just the default one, you cannot. Actually, we could look it up. We got time. All right. The prices are here when you do look for Color Finale. So Color Finale 2 is $99. Color Finale 2 Pro is $149. And you can download a free trial just so you could kind of get used to how it all works and everything and see if it's meant for you. If you don't really like the workflow that it has, then you don't have to commit to a purchase. So after you have it installed, if you do end up buying it, you go into your effects, and then there should be a tab on here called Color Finale. And then since I got the Pro, I will use the Pro version. So if you use Lightroom or anything else that uses sliders for correcting your exposure and your color, you'll definitely like this interface a lot more. So these are like your quick adjustments for each clip that this is applied on. So again, exposure, just back and forth, you'll see it brings the overall exposure up and down. And then contrast, again, if you want it like less contrasty, then you put it to the left, and then to the right for more contrast. The pivot, I like this part a lot because you could very much stretch more of the contrast out. So if you put it all the way to the left, you'll see the waveform, it stretches everything out more in a way, and then if you put it to the right, it pushes everything down. So depending on how you correct your exposure, that could be super helpful, and instead of having to do fine adjustments on the color wheels that's already default in Final Cut Pro. So I will get this exposure to how I want it. And then the next feature they have is white balance. So a lot of the times their auto feature or their eyedrop tool really does a great job, and I usually like to start off there to see if it does anything. Sometimes it doesn't do that great, sometimes it does. So auto, let's see what it does. And it corrected it pretty well, in my opinion. I think that's pretty solid for in terms of white balance, because her dress is white, so you want to have a white balance. So again, you could do a little more fine adjustments if you want it a little bit warmer or not. But again, we're doing the color correcting phase first. And saturation, I don't really touch until after I put on my LUT. Sharpness, I always like to, again, bump it up to like 10 or so. 10 or 5. You don't want to go crazy on the sharpness. And a really cool feature they have for the Pro version, and I'm not sure if it's in the standard, but they have this false color, so it tells you like how exposed or overexposed your shots are. So the dark blue represents it's like underexposed, and bright red is the overexposed area. And then they do have grain. You can emulate some film. So film emulation, you could add grain into your shots if you want. I usually like to do that last just because it can very much mess up with getting my exposure and my colors correct. So I will usually end up doing that last as like maybe just an adjustment layer over top of each clip. And then when you want to go into editing layers and getting more into like editing the actual clip, because these features right here is just like your quick adjustment layers or quick adjustment features. And if you go into edit layers, then you could definitely go into more fine tuning. So they have the color wheels here, they even have the curves, and these curves look a lot better than the curves on the Final Cut Pro. I don't understand why they can't just have it like square like this. I don't know. And then vectors, there are 6 vectors. You have red, green, blue, cyan, magenta, or violet, and yellow. So you could tweak each color if you want. So this one has, if I want not as much blue, I could change the hue of the blue. So you could see it's going to change the color of his suit because it was a velvet suit. Let's say I want to desaturate the blue, and you could see how much it changes her skin and the dress. So because a lot of the times the dress will very much reflect the sky, and that's why you have like some blue. So I like to desaturate that just a little bit. A lot of the times I found for some reason when I mess with the magenta or the violet hue, it tweaks the skin tones a lot, and I kind of like it a lot more. And then they have the HSL curve, which is basically like the hue saturation curves in Final Cut Pro. So everything in here is also on Final Cut Pro by default. The only reason I like Color Finale and why I will continue to use Color Finale is this feature where you could create LUTs. So all these like little adjustments I have, if I want to add in, so if say I want to tweak the exposure to how I want, I don't know, we'll just go crazy. Push some warmth into there, the shadows and a little cooler. Let's see. Add some curves and say I only want like the adjustments for the vectors to be like 60%. And that's also another cool feature, is you could use it like layers. So if you are familiar with Photoshop at all, you have layers that you make Photoshop pictures, or if you want to edit Photoshop pictures, and you could change the opacity of each layer, so that way you could kind of have more room. That way it's not like oversaturated or overly changed, if that makes sense. If I put this all the way to 100%, you'll see the difference compared to like 25%. So if you want to save all these as a LUT, and that is one of the features I love the most about Color Finale, you're gonna exit out of all your fine adjustments, and then you'll see like on this box part, back into the inspector tab, there is this little wheel. You're gonna click on it, export as LUT, and then you can name it whatever you want. And then I'd like to keep the cube resolution at 65 by 65 by 65. No clamp values checked. I don't know if that does anything. I found for my LUTs that I've created through here, it doesn't really change much. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. Comment down below if you know what that means, and I'm glad to learn. But again, that's how you create your own LUTs for Final Cut Pro. I don't know, I love that feature the most about Color Finale, and I think a lot of people will enjoy that the most too, because when you create your own LUTs, you could put that onto your own external monitor when you are filming, if you do shoot that way. That way you could basically dial in how you want it to look when you shoot it. That's a little bit about Color Finale. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like the video if you like it, share if you're into that, consider subscribing if you're not already, and hit that bell notification to stay up to date when I post new videos. And as always, follow me on all them social medias at Aaron Datu Films, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.